My brother pushed me out of my wheelchair at our family reunion. Stop faking for attention. Everyone laughed as I lay on the ground. What they didn't know was that my doctor was standing right behind them. He cleared his throat and said 5 words that ended everything. The concrete hit my palms first, then my shoulder, then my head. Not hard enough to black out, but hard enough that the world tilted sideways and stayed there. The backyard spinning like I was drunk, even though I hadn't touched the beer cooler. 50 people staring. Some were laughing. A few were filming. My brother Tyler stood over me, chest heaving, face red with righteous anger, and 3 Bud Lights. Stop faking for attention, he said loud enough for everyone to hear. Loud enough for the neighbors 3 houses down to hear. The act's getting old, Marcus. I lay there on the sun-baked concrete of my aunt's patio, my wheelchair tipped on its side 2 feet away, one wheel still spinning slowly in the July heat. My right leg was twisted at an angle that sent lightning bolts of pain up my spine. The kind of pain I'd learned to breathe through over the past 26 months. The kind that made my vision white out at the edges. The family reunion continued around me like I was a piece of lawn furniture that had fallen over. Someone turned up the country music. A kid ran past, chasing a wiffle ball. The smell of burgers on the grill mixed with cut grass and the sharp, coppery taste of blood in my mouth from where I'd bitten my tongue. Get up, Marcus, Tyler said, and I could hear the satisfaction in his voice, the vindication. Everyone's watching. Time to drop the charade. I tried to push myself up. My arms shook. The concrete had scraped my palms raw. I could see tiny pieces of gravel embedded in the meat of my left hand, blood welling up around them like garnets. Look at him, Tyler announced, turning to address our assembled relatives like he was a prosecutor, and this was his closing argument. He's been milking this wheelchair thing for 2 years, ever since the accident that nobody actually saw. I was there, my mom said from somewhere in the crowd. Her voice was weak, uncertain, the voice of someone who'd been beaten down by 2 years of family gatherings exactly like this one. You found him at the bottom of the stairs, Tyler corrected. That's not the same thing as witnessing it. For all we know, he threw himself down on purpose. The crowd murmured. Agreement. Consideration. That makes sense, doesn't it? My cousin Jake, 23, worked at Best Buy, still lived with his parents, stepped forward from the circle of relatives. Dude, I've seen him walk. At the Jewel Osco on Roosevelt Road. Last month, he was in the cereal aisle. The murmuring got louder. Heads nodded. Of course, I knew it. Always suspected. That was physical therapy, I managed from the ground, my voice coming out smaller than I wanted, weaker. I told everyone about the outpatient program at Rush. Sure it was, Tyler interrupted. He kicked my wheelchair. The aluminum frame rang like a bell. Meanwhile, you've been collecting disability checks and living in mom's basement rent-free for 2 years, playing video games, ordering DoorDash on her credit card, living the dream while the rest of us work for a living. Because I can't work. Because you won't work. Tyler's face was so close I could smell the beer and barbecue sauce. There's a difference, little brother. My Uncle Richard, Dad's younger brother, the one who sold insurance and drove a Lexus and talked about personal responsibility at every holiday, pulled out his Samsung Galaxy, held it up like he was documenting a crime scene. I'm recording this, he announced, for evidence. We've all been enabling this behavior for too long. It's time someone stood up for the truth. I looked around for support, for anyone. My mom stood near the picnic table, wringing her hands. My Aunt Linda, mom's sister, the one who'd organized this reunion, who'd insisted I come, even though I'd tried to cancel 3 times, stood with her arms crossed, lips pursed in judgment. My grandmother sat in her lawn chair under the oak tree, fanning herself with a paper plate, watching me like I was a disappointing television show. Nobody moved to help. The doctors said, I started. The doctors said maybe, Tyler interrupted. He was on a roll now, playing to the crowd, feeding off their attention. Maybe you'll walk again. Maybe it's permanent. Maybe. You've been dining out on maybe for 24 months, while mom bankrupts herself trying to fix you. He does look awfully comfortable in that chair, my grandmother said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Like he's been practicing. Because I'm in it 12 hours a day. By choice. Tyler grabbed my wallet from my jacket pocket where I'd fallen, held it up like evidence, opened it. See this? Disability card. $837 a month. Plus, mom pays for everything else. Rent, food, medical supplies, special equipment. I have medical bills. My throat was closing up. My hands were shaking, and it wasn't just from the fall. You have excuses. He threw my wallet at me. It hit my chest and fell open, my driver's license staring up at me. The photo from before, when I could stand for the DMV camera without support. The gravy train ends today, Marcus. Right here, right now. The crowd started clapping, actually clapping, like Tyler had just delivered the speech from a sports movie about overcoming adversity through sheer determination and refusing to quit. Tyler, that's enough. Mom finally stepped forward, but her voice had no force behind it. She sounded like she was asking permission, not giving orders. No, Mom. He's bleeding you dry. Tyler's voice softened when he talked to her, went gentle and concerned. Physical therapy 3 times a week. Special equipment. That modified van you bought. You took out a second mortgage for him, on a house you've lived in for 30 years. You're 62 years old and you'll be paying that off until you're 80. Mom's face went red. She didn't deny it. I hadn't known about the second mortgage. I didn't ask her to, I said. You didn't stop her either. Tyler pointed at me, his finger like a weapon. You just kept taking, kept bleeding her dry, kept playing the victim while everyone else sacrificed for you. He crouched down, got right in my face. Stand up right now, he said quietly, or I'm calling the police. police for disability fraud, insurance fraud, whatever fraud applies. You'll go to jail, Marcus. And honestly, that might be better for everyone. I can't. The pain in my leg was getting worse. The kind of pain that meant I'd torn something, displaced something, damaged something that was going to cost thousands of dollars and weeks of additional therapy to fix. Stand up! The entire family started chanting. Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! 50 voices, maybe more. The neighbors had come over to watch. Kids were recording on their phones. My Aunt Linda was clapping in rhythm, leading the chant like a cheerleader. I stayed on the ground because I couldn't do anything else. Because my right leg hadn't had full sensation in 26 months. Because the rods in my spine made certain movements impossible. Because everything Tyler was saying, all the cruelty, all the accusations, all the venom, came from a place of not knowing, of not asking, of not caring enough to understand. My leg throbbed with every heartbeat. Tyler grabbed my shirt, hauled me halfway up. I'm done watching you manipulate everyone. You're a liar and a con artist and that's my patient you're assaulting. The chanting stopped. Everything stopped. Tyler's grip on my shirt loosened, but didn't let go. A man stepped forward from the crowd. Mid-50s, Asian, khakis, and a navy polo shirt, wire-rimmed glasses, carrying a can of Diet Coke like he'd just been standing there the whole time enjoying the show, which I realized he had been. His expression was perfectly calm. Tyler dropped me. I hit the concrete again. Who the hell are you? Tyler demanded. Dr. James Chen. He took a sip of his Diet Coke. Marcus's orthopedic surgeon, among other things. The crowd went completely silent. You could hear the burgers sizzling on the grill, a dog barking 3 yards over, the country music still playing from someone's Bluetooth speaker. I'm also his physical therapist, his pain management specialist, and I consult with his neurologist, Dr. Sarah Patel, at Northwestern Memorial. I've been treating Marcus since approximately 47 hours after his accident 26 months ago. My Aunt Linda laughed. It came out nervous, shrill. Well, doctor, you must be very proud. Your patient can apparently walk just fine when nobody's looking. Dr. Chen smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Actually, he said, pulling out his iPhone, I have something everyone should see. He held it up. An X-ray filled the screen. This is Marcus's lumbar spine, specifically his L4 and L5 vertebrae. He zoomed in with 2 fingers. See these metal rods? 4 of them. And these screws? 14 total. That's from his spinal fusion surgery, performed by me 14 months ago at Rush University Medical Center. The surgery took 7 hours. The recovery took 6 months. Nobody spoke. Tyler had gone very still. The reason Marcus can stand during physical therapy sessions is because we're systematically training his body to handle short distances with a walker. Currently, he can manage approximately 47 meters before the nerve damage causes pain severe enough to require immediate rest. That's about 5 minutes of mobility. After that, the damaged nerves begin firing incorrectly, and he experiences what we call neuropathic pain. Imagine someone driving nails into your leg while simultaneously shocking you with a cattle prod. He swiped to another image. Here's his sciatic nerve, right side. See this area here? He pointed to a place on the screen that looked darker, damaged. That's permanent nerve damage from the fall. It's why his right leg has limited proprioception. That's the ability to sense where your body is in space, and why he can't bear significant weight for extended periods. The nerve misfires. Sometimes his leg just gives out. No warning. My cousin Jake had backed away from the circle, disappeared toward the house. The orthotic brace he wears, the one that costs $4,000 and isn't fully covered by insurance, provides stability. But it's not a cure. There is no cure. This is his life now. Dr. Chen's voice remained perfectly level, clinical. Every day is painful. Every step is uncertain. Every moment in that wheelchair is a reminder of what he's lost. He looked directly at Tyler. But sure, he's faking. Dr. Chen held his phone higher so everyone could see. Then he swiped again. This is a video I recorded approximately 7 minutes ago. Starting from when I arrived at this lovely family gathering, he pressed play. Tyler's voice came through the speaker. Stop faking for attention. The sound of me hitting the concrete. The laughter. The chanting. All of it. Dr. Chen let it play for 30 seconds, then stopped it. I recorded everything, he said calmly. The assault, the verbal abuse, the crowd participation, the public humiliation of a disabled man by his own family. He looked at my Uncle Richard. You're not the only one gathering evidence today, Richard. Uncle Richard's phone was still up, still recording. His hand was shaking now. Tyler stumbled backward, hit the picnic table. We all thought, the evidence seemed, you thought wrong. Dr. Chen's voice went cold. You didn't think at all. You didn't ask questions. You didn't request medical records. You didn't consult with his doctors. You didn't bother to understand what your brother has been enduring for over 2 years. You just assumed he was lying because it was easier than accepting that sometimes terrible things happen to good people and there's no one to blame. He knelt beside me with a practiced ease that came from years of treating patients. Can you move, Marcus? I nodded. Barely. Rate your pain. 1 to 10. 8, I whispered. Maybe 9. He examined my leg with gentle, professional hands, felt along the knee, the ankle. His expression darkened. Possible ligament damage. We'll need imaging. He looked up at the crowd. Someone get his wheelchair. Now. My mom moved first. She righted the chair, wheeled it over. She was crying silently, tears streaming down her face, not making a sound. Dr. Chen helped me back into the chair with the kind of careful precision that comes from doing this 1,000 times before. His hands were gentle, competent. The crowd stood frozen. Some were crying now. Most stared at their feet. My grandmother had stopped fanning herself. Dr. Chen straightened straightened up and addressed the entire gathering. I came here today because Marcus asked me to. His voice carried across the yard. He knew this confrontation was coming. He's heard the whispers, seen the looks. His brother has been building to this for months. The Facebook posts questioning his disability, the comments at Christmas, the jokes at Easter about how convenient his condition is. Tyler's mouth opened. No sound came out. Marcus wanted me here because he knew his family didn't believe him, and he was right. Dr. Chen looked around at every single person. So he asked me, his doctor, his surgeon, the man who cut open his back and installed metal in his spine to keep him from becoming paralyzed, to attend this reunion, to watch, to document. He pulled a business card from his wallet, handed it to Tyler. That's my lawyer's contact information. Her name is Jennifer Wu. She's a partner at Kirkland & Ellis, specializes in disability rights litigation. I'll be filing a police report tomorrow for assault of a disabled person, along with a civil lawsuit for battery, assault, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Tyler stared at the business card like it might bite him. My testimony as his treating physician will be, I suspect, fairly compelling in court. I have complete documentation of his injuries, his surgeries, his therapy progress. I have notes from every appointment. I have the x-rays, the MRIs, the nerve conduction studies. I have 2 years of medical evidence that proves beyond any doubt that Marcus is disabled. He turned to Uncle Richard. I also have your video, the one you recorded for evidence. Thank you for that. It shows conspiracy to intimidate a disabled person, possible fraud accusations made without basis, group harassment. That video is now part of my evidence file. Uncle Richard's face had gone gray. Dr. Chen addressed the entire crowd again. Everyone who participated in that chant is on camera. Everyone who laughed, everyone who filmed this on their phones, everyone who stood by and watched while a disabled man was assaulted and humiliated by his own brother. He paused. I wonder how that's going to play in court or on the news, because this story, a disabled veteran, yes, Marcus served 4 years in the National Guard before his accident, assaulted by his family at a reunion because they thought he was faking. That's the kind of story that local news stations love. He's not a veteran, Tyler started. Army National Guard, 2016 to 2020, honorable discharge. Medical records are part of the VA system, which makes this a potential federal case. Dr. Chen's smile was razor sharp. Did you know assaulting a disabled veteran can carry enhanced penalties? I didn't either until my lawyer explained it to me last week when Marcus asked me to attend this gathering. Dead silence. The burgers were burning on the grill. Nobody moved to flip them. Dr. Chen handed me my wallet, which was still lying on the concrete. Then he moved behind my wheelchair and gripped the handles. We're leaving now, he said. Marcus has an appointment at the ER, which I'll be documenting as assault-related injuries. The medical bills will be attached to the civil suit. His orthotic brace is damaged. That's another $4,000. His wheelchair has a bent frame. $3,000 more. We'll add it all up. He started pushing me toward the driveway. Behind us, 50 family members stood in that same circle. The same people who'd chanted for me to stand up, who'd called me a liar, who'd applauded my brother for assaulting me, realizing that the nephew they'd just humiliated for faking his disability had just recorded every single one of them committing multiple crimes. Wait, Tyler's voice cracked. Wait, Marcus, I'm sorry. I didn't know. We didn't know. I didn't turn around. Dr. Chen kept pushing. Marcus, please. We reached the van, the modified Honda Odyssey with the wheelchair ramp that my mom had indeed taken out a second mortgage to buy. Dr. Chen helped me into the passenger seat with practiced efficiency, then collapsed the wheelchair and stored it in the back. He got in the driver's seat, started the engine. Tyler ran up to my window, banged on it. Marcus, please, I'm sorry. I looked at him through the glass, at my brother who I'd shared a bedroom with for 15 years, who'd taught me how to ride a bike, who'd been my best man at my wedding before the divorce, who'd just pushed me out of my wheelchair in front of our entire extended family because he'd decided I was faking. I rolled down the window 2 inches. You want to know the worst part? I said quietly. Tyler nodded desperately. I called you 3 times after my surgery, left voicemails, sent texts, invited you to doctor's appointments so you could hear the prognosis directly. You never responded. You decided I was lying without ever asking for proof. You chose to believe I was a con artist instead of believing I was hurt. I just thought, no, I said. You didn't think. That's the problem. I rolled up the window. Dr. Chen pulled out of the driveway. The emergency room at Northwestern Memorial was busy for a Sunday evening. Dr. Bio Chen walked me through triage, spoke with the attending physician, Dr. Rebecca Martinez, whom he apparently knew from medical conferences, and got me into an exam room within 20 minutes. The x-rays showed a torn lateral collateral ligament in my right knee. Another surgery scheduled for Wednesday. Another 6 weeks of recovery. Another setback in the slow, agonizing process of trying to reclaim some fraction of my mobility. Dr. Chen sat with me while we waited for the orthopedic specialist to review the scans. Why did you really come today? I asked. He was quiet for a moment. Because I've treated patients with spinal injuries for 27 years, he finally said, and I've watched families destroy themselves over it, watched them fracture, watched caregivers burn out, watched disabled patients get abandoned because it's easier to believe they're faking than to accept that life is random and cruel, and sometimes there's no villain to blame. So you came to help me prove them wrong. I came to document the truth. He adjusted his glasses. What they do with that truth is their choice, but at least now they can't claim ignorance. The police report was filed Monday morning. Detective Luis Gonzalez from the Northbrook Police Department, 23 years on the force, handed handled assault cases, called me Tuesday afternoon. Mr. Thompson, I've reviewed the video evidence, Dr. Chen's statement, the medical records. This is pretty clear-cut. Your brother pushed you out of your wheelchair, causing additional injury. That's aggravated battery against a disabled person. Class 2 felony. What happens now? We'll issue a warrant. He'll be arrested, probably arraigned within 48 hours. Given the circumstances and the video evidence, the state's attorney will likely press charges even if you don't want to pursue it. I stopped. I don't know what I want. You don't have to decide now, but Mr. Thompson, families like yours, they don't change unless there are consequences. Real consequences. Legal consequences. He was right. I knew he was right, but Tyler was still my brother. Tyler was arrested Wednesday morning, posted bail by Wednesday afternoon. His lawyer, some guy from his gym who did personal injury cases, called me Thursday. My client wants to apologize, wants to make this right. If you'd be willing to drop the charges, I'm not pressing charges, I said. The state is. Talk to the state's attorney. Right, but if you testified that it was a misunderstanding, it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was assault. Recorded by multiple cameras. Witnessed by 50 people. There's no ambiguity here. He's your brother. He pushed me out of my wheelchair because he decided I was faking a disability. That's not brother behavior. That's criminal behavior. I hung up. The civil suit was filed Friday. Jennifer Wu, the lawyer Dr. Chen had referred me to, 54 years old, Harvard Law, specialized in disability rights for 22 years, sat across from me in her downtown office with a view of the Chicago River. We're suing Tyler for battery and intentional infliction of emotional distress, but there's a larger case here. What do you mean? Your Uncle Richard, your Aunt Linda, everyone who participated in that chant. They created a hostile environment. They conspired to harass and intimidate you. That's actionable under disability rights law. You want me to sue my entire family? I want you to send a message. Jennifer leaned forward. Marcus, I've handled hundreds of these cases. Disabled people getting abused by family members who think they're faking. It's more common than you'd think, and it almost never ends well because the disabled person is isolated, financially dependent, scared of losing their support system, so they stay quiet. They stay quiet. She nodded. But you have something most of them don't. You have medical documentation. You have a surgeon willing to testify. You have video evidence. You have the ability to make this public, to change the narrative. I just wanted them to believe me. They believe you now. Jennifer's smile was sharp. Now we make sure they never forget it. The story broke local news that weekend. Disabled veteran assaulted by brother at family reunion. Doctor recorded everything. The footage went viral by Monday. Not the whole thing. Dr. Chen had edited out everyone's faces except Tyler's and mine. But enough. The push, the fall, Tyler's words, the chanting. By Tuesday, it had 3 million views. By Wednesday, national news had picked it up. By Thursday, I was getting interview requests from Good Morning America. I declined them all. I didn't want to be famous. I wanted to be believed. Tyler's trial was set for 6 months out, but his life imploded long before that. His employer, a construction company that prided itself on workplace safety and disability accommodation, fired him within a week. Liability concerns, they said. Can't have someone who assaults disabled people representing our company. His girlfriend left him. His friends stopped calling. The video followed him everywhere. Every job interview, every dating profile, every new person he met would eventually Google his name and find it. Tyler Thompson, the guy who pushed his disabled brother out of a wheelchair. My mom called me 3 weeks after the reunion. He's living in his car, she said. Lost his apartment, can't find work. Marcus, he's your brother. Can't you do something? Like what? Talk to the prosecutor. Ask them to drop the charges. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding, Mom. He made a mistake. He assaulted me in front of 50 people while I was already disabled. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. So, you're just going to destroy his life? Your own brother? I thought about that for a long time. No, I finally said. I'm going to let him experience consequences for his actions. There's a difference. She hung up without saying goodbye. The settlement came 4 months later. Tyler pleaded guilty to aggravated battery, got 2 years probation, community service, anger management, and a suspended sentence that would activate if he violated probation. The civil suit settled for $127,000, medical bills, pain and suffering, future therapy costs, punitive damages. Tyler would be paying it off for the rest of his life. Jennifer Wu called me the day the settlement finalized. You won, she said. Doesn't feel like winning. It never does, but you sent a message to your family, to everyone watching, that disabled people matter, that assault has consequences, that you can't just push someone out of a wheelchair because you've decided their suffering is inconvenient. He's broke, homeless, his life is ruined. He ruined his own life. You just documented it. I saw Tyler 6 months later, by accident. I was at physical therapy, the same outpatient clinic at Rush where my cousin Jake had supposedly seen me walking in the Jewel Osco, and Tyler was there, waiting in the lobby, wearing a different shirt, thinner, older somehow. He saw me, started to stand up, sat back down. I wheeled myself over. What are you doing here? I asked. Court-ordered community service. I volunteer in the rehab wing, helping patients with mobility exercises. I didn't know what to say. That's good, I guess. I meet a lot of people like you, Tyler said quietly. People with spinal injuries, nerve damage, chronic pain. People who look fine on the outside, but are fighting every day just to exist. He looked at me finally. I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm so fucking sorry. I didn't understand. I didn't try to understand. I just decided you were lying because it was easier than accepting that you were really hurt. I know. His voice cracked. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? I thought thought about that question for a long time, about 26 months of pain, about the family reunion, about 50 people chanting for me to stand up, about Tyler's face when Dr. Chen showed the x-rays, about the settlement money that was paying for my modified van and my medical bills and my future, about my brother living in his car because he'd assaulted me. I don't know, I finally said. Ask me again in a year. Tyler nodded. That's fair. A year later, Tyler asked me again. We were at a different physical therapy clinic, one in Evanston, where I'd transferred for specialized nerve stimulation treatment. Tyler had moved there too, was working as a paid aide now, had an apartment, was rebuilding his life brick by brick. Do you forgive me? He asked. And this time, I knew the answer. I forgive you for not understanding, for not asking questions, for believing I was lying without proof. I looked at him. I don't forgive you for pushing me out of that wheelchair, for humiliating me in front of our family, for choosing cruelty when you could have chosen compassion. I'm not sure I'll ever forgive you for that. Tyler nodded slowly. That's fair too. But, I continued, I see you trying. I see you working with other patients. I see you learning. I see you becoming someone who understands what I've been living with. That matters. Does it change anything? It changes everything. You're not the same person who pushed me. I'm not the same person who got pushed. We're both different now. Better? Different. I started wheeling toward the exit. But maybe different is enough. 2 years after the reunion, I got invited to speak at a disability rights conference in Springfield. Dr. Chen had recommended me. The organizers wanted to hear about my experience, about family members who don't believe, about the importance of documentation, about fighting back. I almost said no. Then I thought about all the people sitting in wheelchairs right now, dealing with families who think they're faking, who are facing the same skepticism, the same cruelty, the same isolation. So I said yes. The speech lasted 20 minutes. I told them everything. The fall down the stairs, the surgery, the months of therapy, the family reunion, Tyler pushing me, Dr. Chen stepping forward with evidence, the aftermath. When I finished, the room was silent. Then someone started clapping. Then everyone was standing, those who could stand, and the applause filled the convention center like thunder. After, a woman in her 30s approached me. She was in a wheelchair too. Multiple sclerosis, she said. My family thinks I'm faking, she told me. They say MS isn't real, that I'm just depressed, that I need to try harder. Do you have medical documentation? 3 neurologists, brain scans, everything. Show them, make them look, make them understand that their ignorance is not your burden to carry. She started crying. What if they still don't believe? Then you document it, I said, and you protect yourself, because you matter. Your pain matters. Your disability matters. And anyone who can't accept that doesn't deserve access to you. She hugged me, held on for a long time. When she pulled back, she said, thank you for fighting back, for showing us it's possible. 3 years after the reunion, my mom called. The family wants to have another gathering, she said carefully. Thanksgiving, small, just immediate family. Tyler will be there. We're hoping you might come. Will anyone apologize? Silence. That's what I thought. Marcus, they feel terrible about what happened. Feeling terrible isn't the same as apologizing, isn't the same as acknowledging what they did, isn't the same as changing. Can't you just— No, I said firmly. I can't just get over it. I can't just move on. I can't just pretend it didn't happen because it's uncomfortable for everyone else. They destroyed me in front of 50 people. They called me a liar and a con artist and a burden. They chanted for me to stand up. They filmed it and laughed. And now they want me to come to Thanksgiving like nothing happened? So you're saying no? I'm saying they need to apologize. Really apologize. Specifically. For specific things. Not a blanket. We're sorry if we hurt you. But I'm sorry I chanted. I'm sorry I laughed. I'm sorry I called you a liar. I'm sorry I filmed you on the ground. I'm sorry I didn't help you. Every single person who participated owes me that. That's a lot to ask. It's the minimum to ask. My voice was steady. I was their family too. They were supposed to protect me. Instead, they attacked me. If they can't own that, if they can't apologize for it, then they haven't changed. And I have no interest in sitting at a table with people who think my disability is negotiable. Mom was quiet for a long time. I'll tell them, she finally said. 3 people apologized, out of 50. My Aunt Karen, not Linda, different aunt, the one who'd stood in the back crying during the chanting. She sent a handwritten letter, 5 pages, detailed, specific, explaining what she'd failed to do, why she'd failed, what she'd learned since. My cousin Sarah, Jake's younger sister, she was 16 at the time, hadn't participated, sent me a card and a donation to the disability rights organization I now volunteered with. And Tyler showed up at my apartment on a Tuesday afternoon, no warning, just knocked on the door. I answered. He stood there with a folder in his hands. I've been working with Dr. Chen, he said without preamble, learning about spinal injuries, nerve damage, chronic pain management. I've been volunteering at Rush for 2 years now, doing mobility exercises with patients, learning their stories. He held out the folder. These are letters from 12 people I've worked with, people like you, people I've helped. They all agreed to let me show you. I wanted you to see that I've changed, that I understand now, that I've spent 2 years trying to become someone worthy of your forgiveness. I took the folder, didn't open it yet. I'm sorry I pushed you out of your wheelchair, Tyler continued, and his voice cracked. I'm sorry I called you a liar. I'm sorry I led that chant. I'm sorry I chose cruelty over compassion. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I'm sorry I didn't ask questions. I'm sorry I let my resentment about your disability, about the way it changed Mom's life, changed our family. I'm sorry I let that resentment turn into hatred. You didn't deserve that. You were suffering and I made it worse. I'm sorry. I looked at my brother, at the man who'd destroyed me, at the man who'd spent 2 years rebuilding himself. Come in, I said. said. We talked for 3 hours about the reunion, about the aftermath, about his time homeless, about learning to work with disabled patients, about seeing me in every person he helped, about understanding, really understanding, what I'd lost. When he left, he turned back at the door. I don't expect you to forgive me, he said. I know what I did. I know I can't undo it, but I want you to know I'm different now. Better. Because of you. You're different because of you, I corrected. Because you chose to change. But Tyler, don't make me your redemption story. Don't make my disability the thing that taught you empathy. That's not fair to me. He nodded slowly. You're right. I'm sorry. You're right. After he left, I opened the folder, read all 12 letters, each one from a person Tyler had helped, each one describing his patience, his gentleness, his understanding, each one a small piece of evidence that people can change, that cruelty doesn't have to be permanent, that sometimes, not always, but sometimes, the people who destroy us can become better. I didn't know if I'd ever fully forgive Tyler, but I could see him clearly now, not as the villain in my story, but as someone who'd made a terrible choice and spent years living with the consequences, someone who'd hurt me deeply and was trying, really trying to be better. Maybe that was enough. Maybe it had to be.